Hello, rising first years, and welcome to the U Chicago community. I'm Bahara Lampert.
And I'm Melinda Wasonga, and we're advisors in the College Dean of Students office.
Please note that as we're reviewing the pre-reg process and the preparation that goes into that, feel free to send in all of your questions, and we'll get to them at the end of the discussion.
Today we're going to talk a little bit about some things that you'll need to consider as you prepare for pre-reg, which will take place in a couple of weeks. First of all, your placement tests. So the deadline to complete the placement test has passed. However, if you have not taken the test, please log on and do so as soon as possible. However, since you are completing the tests after the deadline, please be aware that your test results may not be in place by the time your pre-registration window opens. For math, every student should have taken the math placement exam. Again, if you have not done so, please log on as soon as possible to complete the math placement tests. Chem. Students who plan to take chemistry during any time in college should take the Chem placement tests. Students who scored a 5 on the Chem AP exam are exempt from taking the test, but anyone else who plans to take general chemistry should take the Chem placement test. Languages. The language test is for students who have prior study experience in the language. So say you took it in high school. Students who are native speakers should not take the language placement test, and students who plan to begin at the beginning of the language, so who have no prior experience, can just go ahead and register for the first quarter of the first year of that language. When you log on to the pre-registration system, you'll notice that the courses are clustered in different categories. Students do not need to and should not necessarily choose a course from each category. The first category that you'll see, and the only category that is actually required, is Hume. All students take Hume in their first year. When you're looking at Hume, you'll actually need to select 3 different Hume sequences as options for your autumn quarter registration. So what do we mean by sequences? Sequences are topical classes that last either 2 or 3 quarters and have to be taken together to fulfill the requirement. Some examples of Hume sequences are readings in World Lit or philosophical inquiry. Within each sequence, you will choose several options for sections. Sections are the days and the times that the particular class meets. The second category that you'll see is Soc. Soc classes are 3-quarter sequences. This means that if you choose to take Soc in your first quarter, you'll have a Soc class every quarter during your first year. If you're planning to major in humanities or social sciences, you may consider taking Soc in your first year. The third category that you'll see is civilization studies. Similar to Soc and Hume, Civ classes are 2 or 3-quarter sequences. However, they don't necessarily need to be taken consecutively. Please consult the course catalog for more information. The fourth category that will appear is math. If you are thinking of a psychology major, economics major, physical sciences, or biological sciences major, you should take math in your first quarter. All other majors may wait to take math core later on. The fifth category that you'll see is physical sciences. Again, if you're thinking of a physical sciences major, biological science major, or if you're thinking of pre-med, you should take your physical science core class in your first quarter. Other students may also choose a Phi-Sci class in their first quarter. Please be sure to check the course catalog to determine if there's a specific Phi-Sci class that is required for your intended major. The sixth category is biological sciences. There are prescribed bio courses for pre-med and for bio majors, but there are still other bio options for non-pre-med and non-bio majors. Please consult the new student advising website for more information. The seventh category is language. Language is a really good option if you're looking for a class for your third or fourth class for your first quarter. And finally, the eighth category is other. And for the most part, classes that fall in the other category are going to be general electives or classes that are important or are interesting for students to take and appropriate for upcoming first years to take during the first quarter here.
So if your focus will be on the physical sciences, the biological sciences, and pre-health tracks in general, here are some things that you should keep in mind. Your first course is going to be Hume. and you'll request at least 3 sequences, as Melinda said. Your second course should be math, and that will be based on placement. Your third course then will be physical science, also based on placement. And your fourth course, which is optional, can be comp sci, advanced biology, language based on placement, or starting at the 101 level, soc, or civ. We should note that many of our bio majors choose to wait until their second year for soc because of the combination of classes that you'll end up taking in your first year. But ultimately, it's your call. If your focus will be in the social sciences, the humanities, or the new collegiate division, here are some suggestions. Your first course, you guessed it, Hume. Your second and third course will be soc, math. Calculus is required for some majors, so as Melinda said, check that catalog. So for example, psych. Your fourth course, again, is optional, optional, but you can consider phi-sci, bio, civ, and language. So if you're undecided, which is perfectly fine, then it's still the case that you will consider Hume as your first course. Your second and third courses will be soc, math, science, or language, and your fourth course, again, is optional. All students have to take at least 3 courses. That's considered full-time study. So when you're thinking about whether you want to take 3 courses or 4 courses during your first quarter, consider some things. Are you a varsity athlete? If so, is autumn your season, meaning that you'll be practicing, you'll be traveling, those kinds of things. Do you want to have a campus job? Do you plan to be involved in RSOs or student activities from the beginning? Do you want some time to ease into things? Do you plan on taking lots of honors classes? Again, whether you take 3 courses your first quarter or 4 courses your first quarter, you will remain on track to graduate within your 12 quarters here. One thing to keep in mind, especially if you're thinking about being a biological sciences major or pre-med, is that there are some additional courses that you'll have to add in winter or spring quarter. So really be careful of the sequences that you commit to during your autumn quarter. Again, you can always consult the course catalog for more information. So hopefully by now, you've all received the email with the unique links to the pre-reg quiz and planner. These are really useful tools to help you prepare for the entire pre-reg process. If you haven't completed the quiz and the planner, do so right away. For most of you, that email was sent June 18th. If you haven't received the email with the links after checking your UChicago account to make sure it's not there, please, please, please email us. We're happy to help.
Look for classes. So you'll want to start with Class Search. Class Search is accessible through your portals through my.uchicago.edu in the My Classes area. When you're searching for classes, you'll notice that there are several different ways to look for classes. You can look via the department, so just show me all anthropology courses offered autumn quarter, or you can look via attributes. So for example, if you want to look at all of the biological sciences core classes that are available in the autumn, under course attribute, you can choose core, and then the next level you can choose biological sciences, and the system will then populate all of the biological science courses in the core that fulfill the core that are offered autumn quarter. Pay attention to the meeting times and any related labs or discussions. This is particularly important for science courses, math courses, but there are other courses that have discussion times that are linked with the courses as well. As you're making your first choices for your courses, make sure that nothing overlaps the day and time meeting patterns. The system will not put you in classes that meet at the same days or the same times. It's okay if your backup options overlap, because again, those are just your second choice, your third choice options. You'll want to definitely click on the course descriptions, make note to see if there are any prerequisites. You should not register for a course for which you do not meet the prerequisite. Once you click, you'll not only be able to see the course descriptions, you'll be able to see the course evaluations and the textbooks that are required for the courses. Please don't worry if some of the courses say closed. This is especially applies to Soc, Econ, and some of the physical sciences courses. There are seats that are being held for our incoming students. So you'll see that some Soc classes may say closed. Please don't worry about that. We will open them up so that you will be able to receive them during pre-registration. The college catalog will become your best friend. Please make sure that you use this reference as you're looking for your potential majors, minors. but especially to see if the majors that you're interested in have particular core requirements. We mentioned some physical sciences courses that are prescribed, some biological science courses that are prescribed for a particular major, so please always refer to the college catalog, collegecatalog.uchicago.edu. The other great thing about the catalog is it lists when courses are planned to be offered during this academic year. So for example, there may be a course that you want to take in the autumn that doesn't really fit in your schedule. You can look at the college catalog to see if it's going to be offered in the winter or spring, and that may help guide your decision as to whether or not you pre-register for that class during pre-registration in a couple of weeks. Finally, make sure that you write everything down. Take screenshots of the pre-reg planner or write it down. Make note of the course numbers, the course sections, as well as the backups for everything that you have. It'll help you when you sit down to pre-register.
So in terms of next steps, know that there are more specific instructions coming. You want to use the pre-reg tools that we've talked about today. You want to take those screenshots, you want to write the things down, and you want to have a list of courses that you want to request. And so now it's going to be time for questions. Please do feel free to send your questions now. And as always, you can contact College Advising via email, or if you need to schedule a meeting with us, you can definitely touch base with our office as well. We're happy to help. So I think now what we're going to do is look at some questions that came in overnight.
Sure,
right?
yeah, let's go ahead. So I see one here. Someone's asking about when they'll receive their placement test results. Placement test results will be published, so you'll be able to view them through the my.uchicago.edu portal sometime the week before pre-reg begins.
Another student wrote, can I request a course even if I have not received placement into it? Technically you could, but it's not going to do you much good. So you want to request courses for which you have placement.
Oh, okay, so someone's asking, what if I forgot to finish all my placement tests? As you mentioned, if you did not take all of your placement tests, or if now you're thinking, okay, I did math, but I'm still interested in a language, or maybe I should think about chem, it says that I'm pre-med, I should take chem, go ahead, I'll log on to Canvas today if possible, but as soon as you can, go ahead, take the test, and we'll get your placement up as soon as we are able.
So what if I change my mind about my classes or my major after I submitted that planner? Okay, so here's the thing. The planner, the quiz, all that stuff, those are tools that are useful for you. The planner is not going to be the determining factor. Your requests are going to be the determining factor. It's useful, it'll help guide you, but it's not the case that if you somehow have a change of heart and you submitted your planner that you are stuck with those choices. So think about your requests, the choices that you're making as the sort of determining thing.
Okay, someone emailed in.
I don't see the chat window.
Yeah.
Oh, so many chats. All the chats are happening, students. That's great. We can't see them, so we're delighted by this.
Okay. So let's see. So someone is asking, is it recommended to take the 4th optional class for the pre-health track? So again, when you get on campus, there'll be lots of information sessions. Please make sure that you review the course catalog, the new student advising website. During orientation week, you'll have a chance to meet with our career advisor, as well as all of the UCI careers and advisors. So they will be able to answer all of your questions about that.
Yeah. While Melinda's looking for another question from our chat window, I'm going to go to our questions from last night. And so one question that often my students ask when they get here, and that we're definitely seeing a lot of right now from students who are contacting our office, which we really encourage, is whether it's smart to take Hume and Soc together in your first year. It's kind of a complicated question, and it's ultimately up to you, but here's what we tend to tell our students. Hume and Soc do have a substantial amount of reading when you combine them. There are certainly benefits to taking them together. There's some overlap in terms of your thinking. You're building structures that are advancing your critical thinking skills, right? But it is definitely the case that you are not required to do that. And so if you feel like you're taking an otherwise heavy load, or as Melinda talked about, you have other things going on and you want to be able to have a greater sense of balance and your footing in your first quarter, it's perfectly fine to take Hume your first year and then Soch your second year.
Okay. So someone asks if you have prior language experience in a language where there is no placement test, but you still want to take that language, can you? The answer is absolutely yes. So again, when you come during the O week, you'll have an option to meet with different language coordinators. And if the language is offered at the University of Chicago, you'll be able to meet with the language coordinator. What they do is they may administer their own language placement tests, and they'll go ahead and give you a placement. So if there's no placement test available, but we offer the language, you will be able to get a placement. You'll just have to wait until a week.
So should I request a course in every single category? Mm-hmm. No, you must not. In fact, there is a skip button, and you can, it's up to you to determine, both based on the tools that we've provided and your intellectual interests, what it is that you want to focus on in your first year. So if you're fairly certain that you're not interested in Civ right away, then go ahead and skip that. You don't necessarily need to do every single category.
Okay. Someone asks if they can pre-register for a class that they don't have the prereq for, but that they've gotten instructor permission to take. So as Bahara said before, the system will not put you in the class if you don't have the prerequisite. It's not only the prerequisite if there's a prerequisite course requirement, but if you don't have a placement in that class either. So what you'll want to do is, if you want to take a class, if somehow you've already reached out to the instructor, gotten the permission, when you meet with your advisor during a week, you want to talk with them about the class, make sure it really is appropriate for a first-year student. Then your advisor will provide you instructions on how you can have that class added to your schedule.
So if I request 4 classes, am I then obligated to take 4 classes? No, we have an add drop window that runs through the end of 3rd week of every quarter. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, you request 4 classes, Hume, math, Soch, and a language, let's say. And you get into those classes and you're totally delighted by them, but you're finding that in order to do really well in those classes, that you can't devote as much time and energy to each of them. And so maybe you touch base with your advisor, hopefully, and to sort of communicate these concerns and consider your options. And you decide, you know what, for me, this first quarter, it's perfectly acceptable that I start with 3. And so as long as you drop that 4th course by the end of 3rd week, you're perfectly fine.
Okay. Someone is asking, is it necessary to do all courses in a sequence together? So as we mentioned before, for Hume and things like Hume and Soch and Civ, even some math, bio, sci-fi, we speak of sequences. When we use the term sequences, that means that you have to take courses in that sequence to meet the requirement. So let's say you start a sequence and you decide that you don't like the sequence and want to drop, you can, that's fine. The course is then used in another area in your degree program, and you still have to take a different sequence to fulfill that area's requirement.
Are first years allowed to take 5 classes? We love that you are excited and energized and curious and want all the interesting things, and you want to learn as much as you can, as fast as you can. But no, first years are not allowed to take 5 classes. There's going to be so much opportunity for you to take courses here at UChicago. No matter what your major, there's no way for first years to take 5 classes, and it's in your best interest, really.
Mm-hmm. So a few people are asking about different courses. Are they open during autumn quarter? As we mentioned before, that right now you may see that some Soch classes say closed. You may see that macro econ says closed. Those classes, we've saved seats for first years. So if it says closed or it says consent only, the classes that are available and options for you for pre-registration will be populated in your pre-registration window when you log on to pre-register. So anything that's appropriate for you to take, you'll be able to choose.
Are econ and business econ the same major or different majors? This is a really good question. Business econ is a new track within the econ major. And so when you're thinking about pre-reg, planning, all those kinds of things, it's econ. And so yes, you should definitely consider it the same major. It's a track within that major.
Someone asked if there's any way to tell if a Hume Soc teacher intends to teach all 3 quarters in the class, I think what we really encourage you to do is not really worry about the instructor and choose the sequence that's most interesting to you. That's really going to be the most important thing. Choose a sequence, read all the different descriptions, and choose one that really stands out to you, one that you want to explore further. Don't really worry about who's teaching at this point in time.
Yeah, you're at U Chicago. The scholars here are amazing. And, you know, I think we have found that student success is primarily dependent on what you put into it, what you're excited about. And so you should feel like you're the driving force in any one course. All the instructors here are just really great. Mm-hmm. We hope that you're excited about it too.
So someone is asking, when they select classes, will they select different times of the week that the class is available? And that's what we meant by choosing different sections. So when we say sections of classes, you will choose the different days and times, so the different meeting patterns of the different classes that you want to take. So yes, you will be able to specify the days and times that work best for you. So
remember, 3 sequences, mm-hmm. and then sections under that.
Someone's asking, when they meet with their advisor during O week, can they change the classes that they selected during pre-reg? So what you'll want to do is you'll be able to see your schedule. You'll meet with your advisor, and you and your advisor will have a discussion about your first quarter schedule, what your plans are, what you're interested in, and then you and your advisor will decide what the best course of action is for you if you need to make a change or not. Yeah. That's something you'll discuss with your advisor during the week.
Yeah, the advising office here really is meant to be a support structure for you. It's to allow you to make informed decisions, to sort of be the driving agent in your education. We're excited in that process.
We've talked a lot about advisors, and someone's asking when they get their advisor assignment. And you will receive your advisor assignment before a week. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. Someone asks, do all the courses in a sequence have to be taken in the same year?
Yes, generally speaking, like if you start your Hume sequence, you should finish it. Almost all of our students do. If for some reason, let's say a student took a Soc sequence and they absolutely could not fit in their bio class, but biology was of their primary interest, then they would wait to take the remaining classes in that sequence the subsequent year. But generally speaking, it's a good idea once you start a sequence to try and finish it.
Someone asked about how placement tests are, or how placements are decided. So what we will tell you is that our placement tests are pretty accurate. So it's not, I think the students is asking, is a relationship to how you compare with other students or yourself. So different placement tests are looking at different things. The math, the chemistry, and the language tests are pretty accurate. However, if you come to campus, you go to the class during your first week or first couple weeks and you feel like your placement isn't appropriate, you can always speak with the placement coordinators and talk about changing your placement. So just because you're placed in a class doesn't mean that you're stuck there the entire time. If it's too challenging or too easy, either way, that's always going to be a conversation that you'll have with both your college advisor as well as with the department to determine if a change in placement is appropriate for you.
Yeah, the departments have spent a lot of time and energy trying to fine tune those. The reason for that is they're very much interested in our students feeling challenged, but not totally overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. They want you learning at a healthy clip. So the math department, for example, is incredibly responsive and flexible and ready to hear student concerns. So if I have a student that feels like they should be in a 151 or 152 or 130s or 150s or 160s, and they really can make a cogent argument, math is more than happy to talk to you to sort of figure that out. They want you to be eager, they want you to be hungry, they want you to be learning, they don't want you to be bored. And so it's not in their interest to, as Melinda said, stick you in a class that you absolutely don't need to be in.
Mm-hmm. Someone asks, is it possible to major in bio and take social first year? So for something that specific, I would really encourage you to give us a call. So either make an appointment, phone appointments, Skype appointments, or in-person appointments are available before the pre-reg window opens. So give us a call, make an appointment, have a conversation with one of the advisors, because really what we'll want to talk about with you is not just, can you take the 2 classes together, but sort of what is your overall plan? What other classes are you thinking about? Where are you headed? So that's more of a full discussion. So if you have those kinds of questions, please call us, make an appointment. We also have an advisor on call. You can call in and talk to someone anytime before the pre-reg window opens.
Yeah, we're here to sort of work with you and talk with you and answer questions and start to make plans for autumn quarter. And as a reminder, you can always rewatch this live stream and any of our older live streams on the New Student Advising website, newstudentadvising.uchicago.edu. And as Melinda said, just if you have extensive questions, just call us and schedule an appointment.
So if you have questions after we finish, you can always email collegeadvising@uchicago.edu. That email address is monitored and answered by an advisor every day, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5. Or as we mentioned before, you can always call our hotline is 773-702-8615. Give us a call, make an appointment for an individual appointment with one of the advisors as well.
Yeah. That about it? I think those are most of the questions. Thank you so much for joining us. We are incredibly excited to see you in a week.
Absolutely. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Welcome.